They said I made everything about me. They said I had no sense of boundaries, that I was jealous, dramatic, that I'd always find a way to ruin anything good. They told everyone I gave up.
No.
That's not the truth. The truth is, I was tired of fighting for space in rooms that were already filled with judgments. They rewrote my story before I had a chance to live it. It wasn't failure. It was something bigger, just not visible yet. I was breathing underwater while everyone danced on the shore, smiling for pictures I was never asked to be in. My silence was treated like confession. And my kindness? That was spun into manipulation. But what they didn't expect was that one conversation could rewrite everything. One moment. One man. One truth. My name is Hun. I'm 29 years old. I live in the USA. And this is the story of how my sister said I'd ruin her wedding. But her husband pulled me aside and said something that changed everything. Growing up, I was the fixer. The one who made the guest room perfect before relatives arrived. The one who stayed up all night printing my sister's science fair project when the ink ran out. I was always there. Always willing. Always fine. My path was supposed to be clean. Graduate top of the class. Secure a great job. Start a business. Buy a home by 30. But that path began to crack before I even realized I was walking it with bleeding feet. After college, burnout came like an invisible tide. I was working 60-hour weeks, saying yes to everything and everyone until my body shut down. The panic attacks started in grocery store aisles. The crying spells in parking lots. No one saw them. Or maybe they just didn't want to. When I finally quit my job, the silence at home was deafening. My mom said, "She's just taking a break." My aunt whispered, "We don't talk about that anymore." My sister never asked me why. They looked at me like I had broken a pact, like I had walked off stage in the middle of the performance they were all applauding. And the truth? I did start over. But no one noticed. I didn't have a big plan when I started again. No dramatic reinvention. Just little steps. I took a part-time job at the public library. It paid next to nothing, but it felt quiet. Safe. Mostly, I helped older patrons figure out how to use the computers. Resetting passwords. Zooming in browser windows. Printing out photos of grandkids they'd only seen on Facebook. It felt small. Too small for someone who once pitched tech startups to venture capitalists. But slowly, it began to matter. There was this one woman, Mrs. Egan. 82, stubborn, wore a burgundy hat every Tuesday. She shuffled in one afternoon with a piece of paper trembling in her hand. A printout of an email from her son. She hadn't seen him in 7 years. And now he was visiting. Tomorrow. "But this machine hates me," she muttered, glaring at the keyboard. She wanted to reply. Didn't know how. I showed her step by step. Typed what she wanted. Press send. A moment later, she whispered, half to herself, "You brought my baby into my living room." I didn't know what to say. So I smiled. Moments like that began to fill my days. They didn't come with praise or promotions. But they stitched meaning back into my life, thread by gentle thread. It didn't make headlines. But it mattered. A year into working at the library, I proposed something simple to my manager. "Why don't we run free weekly tech classes for seniors?" She shrugged and said, "Try it. Let's see who shows up." At first, just 3 people came. By the 3rd month, it was standing room only. We called it TechWise Tuesdays. I built slide decks, printed guides, and brought cookies from home just to make it feel warm. Soon, neighboring libraries asked me to bring the program to their branches. By year 2, I was running 7 workshops a week. We were onboarding over 1,200 seniors per month across the city. I partnered with local community centers. I got a small grant from a city program. Eventually, I registered a nonprofit. Our newsletter had a 78% open rate. That's higher than some Fortune 500 companies. Seniors were reconnecting with family, accessing health services online, video calling grandkids in other countries. It felt real. It felt alive. It felt like something only I could have built. But back home, nothing changed. When I mentioned the nonprofit at dinner, my sister blinked and said, Teaching old folks to click buttons? Real noble work. When I talked about our wait list, my uncle chuckled. She's always been the free spirit. They used that word like it meant aimless. They saw my quiet joy as settling, my peace as failure. It didn't matter how many people I helped. To them, I was still the one who quit, the one who broke the mold, the one who almost had it all but gave it up. I smiled through it, because part of me still hoped they'd see me. Just once. But weddings bring out old dynamics like perfume on old clothes. And when my sister got engaged, it became very clear where I stood. I wasn't invited to help plan. I wasn't asked to give a toast. She said, just show up.
Don't make this about you. So I did.
I showed up. Quiet.
Composed.
But inside a little fractured. Until something happened. Something I never expected. And it didn't come from her. The wedding was elegant. Soft jazz. White roses. A perfect sunset backdrop. I wore navy blue. Simple. Respectable. Forgettable. I stayed on the edges, smiled during photos, helped guide elderly relatives to their seats. Did what I was told. Don't draw attention. At the reception, I found myself sitting at the overflow table. You know the one. Near the kitchen. Between a toddler's high chair and a bouquet wilting from heat. Across from me sat a man I didn't recognize. Late 50s maybe. Crisp suit. Kind eyes. He introduced himself as Uncle Rob, the groom's uncle. We chatted politely. Then, halfway through the salmon course, he said something strange. You know, it's funny. Just last week, my sister was telling me about this program that changed her life. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, she's 75. Never touched a computer. Couldn't email, couldn't video call. Thought Wi-Fi was a new kind of medication. He chuckled. Now she won't stop texting me emojis. I smiled politely, but something in my chest stirred. She said some young woman at the library taught her. Kind of turned her whole world around. I looked up, more curious now. Which library? I asked. Downtown branch. They call it Tech-Wise something. My breath caught. Tech-Wise Tuesdays. I asked softly. He snapped his fingers. That's it. His face lit up. She talks about it like it's a second church. Said she even got help finding medical documents online. Made her feel human again. There was a long pause. He sipped his drink. I wish I could meet that woman, he added. Shake her hand. I sat very still. You already have, I said gently. He blinked. What do you mean? I run that program. I started it. He leaned back, eyes wide.
No.
Really? I nodded. You, yes. His face shifted, from surprise to respect to something like awe. I don't know what to say. You don't have to, I whispered. He was quiet for a while. Then he said, I think you've done something remarkable. A beat. Does your family know? I smiled. They know pieces. We clinked glasses in quiet acknowledgement. A toast not to success, but to purpose. Later that night, as the dancing started and laughter filled the air, he stood up and walked over to my sister and her husband. I saw him whisper something. Saw them glance toward me. The groom walked over, paused beside me, and in a low voice he said, I didn't know about your work, about any of it. Rob told me what you've built. He swallowed hard. I think you deserve a different seat at the table. He motioned toward the head table, toward the family. I declined, not out of pride, but peace. I didn't need the seat anymore. I already had the story, and the story had finally spoken for itself. Not because I demanded attention, but because the truth walked in by itself and refused to stay quiet. A few weeks after the wedding, an envelope arrived at my apartment. No return address, just my name, written in soft cursive. Inside was a card, pale cream with pressed lavender flowers. No big message. No apology stamped in dramatic ink. Just one line. Thank you for being exactly who you are. It was signed, Mom. I stared at it for a long time. I didn't cry. I didn't need to. Later that month, my brother forwarded me an article. It was a feature on TechWise Tuesdays, written by a local journalist who'd sat in one of our sessions. My brother had written only 5 words in the email. You built something real. Proud. No emojis. No grand gesture. Just presence. There were no family announcements, no Facebook tributes, no overdue applause. But the silence had softened. The weight had shifted. At Thanksgiving, my sister asked if I could help her set up a new iPad. She didn't say much else, but she handed me the box gently,
Like she saw me. For the first time in years.
and I didn't need a speech or a platform. I had peace. Not the loud kind, but the kind that hums beneath your ribs when you stop trying to prove and simply live. I didn't print the letter. I just kept it, tucked in the back of my drawer, behind old postcards and a crumpled list of workshop ideas. Because that's what this was about all along. Not approval, not perfection, but connection. And becoming. If you've ever felt like the side character in your own story, if you've ever whispered your truth into rooms that only echoed back silence, then this story was always meant for you. Because sometimes, what feels like a detour is the road. Sometimes, what feels like being forgotten is life pulling you into deeper presence. You're not behind. You're not invisible. You are becoming. So, wherever you're watching from, tell me your story. Someone out there needs to hear it. Maybe even someone in your own family. And if no one's told you this today, I'm proud of you. Not because of the spotlight, but because you kept going in the dark. This channel isn't about big wins. It's about real ones. Quiet victories. Second chances. Stories that don't need fixing, just telling. Thank you for being here. There's more to come. And I can't wait to walk the next one with you.